Oh, a little something. That's sweet. Ooh, now it's ASMR. Welcome to ASMR.
Welcome to ASMR on
Dylan.
Reading the Stars.
I'm Dylan.
Subscribe to the Past Your Bedtime YouTube channel. Gorgeous.
Mutuals in real life. I'm nervous because I don't even know that much about horoscopes, so be gentle.
Oh, I will be gentle, but we will talk about like everything under the sun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, do you only have tequila?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm allergic.
You do water.
My go-to's vodka.
Oh.
Maybe I'll just put the tiniest bit in a little water. Oh, I still taste mine.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
No,
be fine.
drink the ginger ale.
Oh, look at that. Okay, it's almost showtime.
Hello and welcome back to an episode of Reading the Stars. My name is Antoni Bumba and I am your host. If you're wondering why I'm talking like this, it's because I'm in this corset and I cannot breathe. Today we have a very special guest with us on the show. We've been mutuals on the internet for so long, and today we're meeting in person for the very first time. I'm so excited to introduce to you guys Dylan Mulvaney. She uses she, they pronouns, and she is a Capricorn Sun, Virgo Moon, Pisces Rising. Everybody, give it up for Dylan. It's about to get cunt. Welcome to my show, Dylan. I'm so excited to have you here. Actually, I'm more honored than excited because there's like 5 different versions of me, but to the version of me that sits in my room at 2 a.m. and sees you, and like, the version of me that's a nobody, that will like be on my phone in the darkness and watch something that makes me want to feel alive or makes me feel like I want to continue to be alive. Thank you. I'm so excited to have you here. I love witnessing your journey. I love being able to experience you in real life. It's cunt.
Oh, that was the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me.
Oh.
That's on the record. I am just so happy because I feel like this is like two worlds fine and colliding. Like we've got like the New York girly, we got the LA girly.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about like having different parts of ourselves. Like you have like all these different layers. I do too. And I feel like as much as we're kind of like off the cuff people, everything can be very intentional. And sometimes it has to be calculated because we're business women.
Totally.
And we're trans women on this app
Huh.
that's, kind of like, like crazy. I feel like even, now being in mid-20s, I'm like, oh my God, am I too old for this application?
Yeah.
But we have to kind of see ourselves in the future as these business women. And
Totally.
I love that we, have found each other. And
Yeah.
I feel like our brands very much complement,
Yeah.
what we're doing. And
Super obsessed with you, like off the bat. And, I think that Dylan's description of everything just then, I mean, if you were just to take random words from that description and just it would perfectly encapsulate her Capricorn Sun, her Virgo Moon, and her Pisces Rising. And the best part about it is she has no idea what the bleep that means.
okay, and I'm very embarrassed and nervous about that because obviously girlhood has a lot, like, girls love astrology.
Yeah.
As a blanket statement, I'm going to say,
Astrology
I don't want to
hoes, where you at?
stereotype anyone, but living in LA,
Yeah.
now a woman here,
Yeah.
I was doing some stand-up comedy, and all the women comics, it was always about astrology. And now I did, one of my days of girlhood was about learning about my signs a little bit, but I haven't even skimmed the surface. So that's
Totally.
why I'm so excited to be here.
You know what's interesting though?
What?
I think that most Capricorns that I meet aren't really into astrology, and they think it's because they're not like, they don't really do those kind of things, or they never stumbled upon it. But actually, Capricorns are known to be the most witchiest sign.
Ooh.
They practice their own kind of magic, so they don't really need anybody else's.
Well, funny enough, I actually didn't think that I was much of a Capricorn. Like I was like, I don't believe in astrology because I'm this Capricorn and that doesn't really fit me because I was the laziest person I ever met.
Totally.
But then I found out I had really severe ADHD this year, started medication, babe, can't stop me. I'm working around the clock. I'm a
go.
Capricorn like nobody's business.
Right.
And so now I'm like, maybe there is something to this witchy magic that we call astrology.
Yeah.
Because I definitely now think people, because sun, correct me if I'm wrong, is sun how people see you?
Sun is like how people perceive you, but it's more about who you become over time and who you are deep down in your soul.
Oh my God. So maybe, because I think Capricorns are generally very driven people.
Yeah.
They are hard workers. I feel like that's what I'm stepping into right now.
Totally.
And so as I'm evolving into my Capricorn, and then the moon is a Virgo.
Yeah.
And I think that means I'm pretty sensitive, right? Or
Well,
no, that's how I feel inside.
Totally.
Oh no, I want to serve people. That's like it's like
Yes.
of service, which
Totally.
I love. And I feel like, because we were just talking about like our upbringings and, you know, wanting to be these really good Catholic kids. And I feel like
Yes.
I'm just always like, what can I do for others?
Right.
And, you know, feeling that Catholic guilt is so real.
Yeah.
But it's, I've got
Let
that
us
sense of-
embrace the mystery of faith, period.
Shepherd me, oh God, beyond my wants. That's so real.
Whoa.
Do we have any corresponding signs?
I think, okay, so you're not going to understand this, but bear with me.
I'm working through it.
So you're a Virgo, you're a Virgo moon, I'm a Virgo rising.
Okay.
You're a Capricorn sun. I'm a Sagittarius sun, but I have my Mercury, my Venus, my Mars, my Neptune, and my Uranus in Capricorn.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I have a lot of Capricorn.
Hardest
in my
worker
chart.
I know.
Yeah.
We were in the green room. We're just like talking business, baby. Mid-20s.
Yeah.
Chatting. We're businesswomen.
It's like we're talking mad shit, but it's all about business. Like we're talking hot shit, but it's all about business.
Yeah, we want to own homes.
Yeah, we want to own we want to take over the world. Okay, we want to take over the world.
Ellen and Oprah.
Yeah. Come.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, but also I think that my dad is a Capricorn. My older sister is a Capricorn. She's like my sort of twin.
Oh.
She's 11 months older.
So you're
than me.
compatible, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
we are.
Yeah,
Good.
totally.
Ooh, phew.
Yeah.
Okay, now we got that taken care of.
Yeah, but I feel like it's so interesting to me because I think that, you were like, I know nothing about astrology. You coming on the show being like, I did this research and I read this and I read this article about this and I read this and I know this about this. I'm like, so you do know some stuff.
Well, literally, I'm not kidding, 2 minutes before I got out of the car.
In the Uber.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to, come in and impress. I wanted to impress you a little bit.
Please.
But truly, if there's anything that you think I should know about astrology, why is astrology so important to you?
I think the reason why astrology is so important to me is because I realized around the time that I was 15 that everything in the world sort of is connected.
Yeah.
And is connected by something that I still don't understand yet. But I realize that astrology is sort of a map of it. And I think that sometimes people have the misconception of astrology where they think that, your sign or the stars or the planets control you, when really actually, and this might sound a little far-fetched, the planets and the rest of the solar system moves along with you and you move along with the solar system. And all they will ever do is map out the movement.
Right. So it's less about predicting your future or it's really just going with the flow of what's meant to be for you.
Yeah,
and
totally.
having this because we talked about a little bit of higher power kind of woo woo. We both grew up very Catholic, right?
Totally.
So is that conflicting to religion too? Is astrology?
I don't. For me, I think I'm a rare case because I remember when I was sitting in church and I was growing up, I'd be listening to what the pastor was saying or the priest was saying, and I would just be like, okay, I with about 48% of everything this dude is saying, and then everything else, I feel like I'm gonna forget.
You got what you needed out of it.
Hell yeah, that's the vibe.
Do you still as far I felt like I kind of got burned by the church a little bit because when I was 14, I was in Catholic private school. And I was the best Catholic kid. I would go thank you. I would sing in the choir. I was the one reading in front of the 2,000 other kids at church. And then I walk in to how you have to repent your sins. You say your sins and then they magically go away.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Love that.
So I go in to the priest and the priest, I say one of my sins had something to do with gay, God forbid.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm so sorry, I can't absolve your sins, but I wish you the best. And I was like, are you I just read, some Bible verse in front of all
Right.
these kids. What is the point of all this?
I'm like, is there like a Catholic premium I can subscribe to? Like,
right, and
I
I
don't
knew
understand.
I knew all my girlfriends
Yeah.
were doing all these horrible things, and I knew they got their sins absolved.
Yeah.
And so I was pissed.
Yeah.
So that we're coming back to faith, we're figuring it out. But it's nice to have these other little woo-woo things like astrology. Like I'm actually now excited to
Yeah.
after this to go look more into it.
I think that's
What's a good place for people to start?
Oh my gosh. Ooh.
Well, first of all, this pod.
This pod is a good place for us to start.
Skimming the surface.
Reading the stars is a perfect place for us to all start. But besides that, I think that obviously, if you're on TikTok, just look up a hashtag.
Well, now
astrology.
literally my phone's in my purse. Like I promise, I'm gonna leave here, and my For You page is just gonna be astrology.
Yeah, I mean, I have some of my favorites, and like not to give like shout outs like that, but if you guys
You like
ever
Venmo
wanna,
for this
Please,
shout
Venmo,
out.
please Venmo for a shout out, but I love cafeastrology.com. I love astrotheme.com, and on TikTok I love Mercurial Sarah with an
Okay.
H.
We've
with
got
an
3
H.
right there.
She's so kind, and
I
she's
know what I'm
just-
doing with my night.
Yeah, please. And I think, but I think where it really plays a role is, even though I wasn't so into, the Catholic faith being like, you're going to hell, you're dying, you're going to be like spending the eternal like rest of your soul's existence.
It's
burning.
so dramatic.
So
You
OD.
They think gay people are dramatic.
Yeah.
Have they met themselves?
I know. It's like-
Catholics.
yeah, but I think growing up Catholic really made me a more faith-driven, reverent person. Actually, I have such a funny story. Like, for me, I think the idea of there being not even like a higher power, but like the concept of the world being more than what I thought it was and being connected really enticed me. So I kind of was always looking for a truth that made me feel.
Yeah, something that doesn't make this all feel random.
Yeah.
Because even this year, we're popping off.
Yeah.
Good stuff's happening, and I'm like, who's doing that? Like, I'm even wondering if there's someone at TikTok that presses a button that says let's make this person go viral.
Please.
Because I swear that I think somebody pushed that button for both of us.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the whole concept of how this is all laid out, I don't think any of it is, I think all of it is so much bigger than us, but I think that we were sort of built to be able to do this,
Yeah.
And I was talking to my friend Victoria the other day, and we were talking about what we do for work, and because it's not, like the 9 to 5, like it's not like the 9 to 5, it's a little bit more.
I think it's harder.
Yeah, it definitely, I think that I was talking to her and I was like, sometimes I feel bad because I feel like, oh my gosh, not every single day looks the same. I don't walk into an office every
No
single
structure.
day. Yeah. I mean, like, there is a structure.
Babe, look at the dress you're in,
Yeah.
and you're in LA, you're a New York girly.
The structure is here in
There's
the corset.
the structure's in the corset. It's nowhere else.
Yeah. But it makes me really think about, who I am. And I think about it and I'm like, I don't know how I could ever work any other job. I've worked so many other jobs.
Oh, because I used to be a Broadway performer.
Yeah.
And before, in college, I kind of had this freak out. I was comparing myself to the other kids, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a casting director so that I can still be in the world, but not be on performer. And I went in for one of the internships, in New York, these big Broadway offices, and literally they could tell that I was supposed to be a performer, and I could tell too that I was like, Dylan, you need to at least give this a shot. And thank God I did, because my first audition in New York, I booked the Broadway musical.
Fire.
Yeah, it was fierce.
Round of applause for that.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
damn it. Why don't I have my nails?
Yeah, let's
We're
rub
like
them
Dolly
together
Parton
in
over
my-
here.
Yeah. I think astrology is so interesting because I could say to you, my mother moved to America at the age of 18, picked up this new language, and met my father, and they both built careers in corporate America and taught my sisters and I how to be strong women.
Yeah.
Or I could tell you that my moon is in the 9th house on the cusp of the 10th house, and my 2 sisters have their moons in the 10th house, and we all have similar aspecting charts.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a different language.
Totally.
With astrology.
Yeah.
And you just got to start somewhere.
Yeah, totally. And I think that, why I bring astrology into into my show is because it sort of encapsulates my intention with the show. I think that it's really important and really interesting to bring on all these people that people put on pedestals and have a really like intimate way of connecting to them. You know what I mean?
And you bring up like the pedestal thing, and I very much these past few months feel like, you know, some of my followers sometimes do that, or I feel like kind of like infantilized is the word, where it's like, oh my God, we need to protect her at all costs. I'm like, babe, I've been protecting myself for a long time. You know, I'm out here walking around the street by myself, like ready to pepper spray somebody if I need to, but like, I'm an adult, you're an adult, and that I think happens a lot online when we have these personas that are part of us. But I wish that they could also see us, you know, just living our best lives.
And that's why I think it's so, like, I think the most relaxing thing for me is just remembering that life isn't always, like, just now. We focus on just now, but that way so we can live into what's next.
Right.
And however long we have.
And you're just now is in LA right now.
Right.
We were just talking, we were in the green room talking about, like, dating out here, and like I want you to move here, but how do you feel about that?
I think that I am a New York girl through and through. I
mean, LA girl.
I do love like the canyons and the valleys.
Okay,
and the
give
beaches.
me like give me like 3 words about LA versus 3 words about New York.
Okay. This is all specific to my experience.
Okay.
Because I know the LA born and raised, the LA natives are going to come from my throat. I just think that geographically, and this is my only issue, geographically, this does not make sense to me. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how...
It's giant.
It is giant, and it's also supposedly such a small space. I don't understand how Mar Vista and La Brea and, you know, how all these different spaces can exist, but it'll be like, oh, that's Hollywood. Oh, that's Venice. Oh, that's like Calabasas.
Well, it's like New York, though, because haven't you seen
True.
those, like, on Instagram, how, like, people will carve out, like, oh, Hollywood is Midtown, and then they'll say, like, Echo Park is Brooklyn, or like
True.
So there's the vibes can be similar in some places.
The difference, though, is that even though there's so many buildings and so many things, New York is literally within a 5-mile radius. Like well, that's not always true, but that's not totally true, but it feels like it. It's like 5 to 7 miles.
Where in New York are you living?
I'm living in Tribeca. Oh, can't say that one. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I'm living in Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then sometimes when you have to go to Brooklyn, that feels like a trek.
You know what? The only reason why it feels like a trek is because public transport is crazy. You want to take a 30-minute ride to Prospect Park, you know, or Prospect Heights in an Uber. It's going to be shaky and you're going to get, you know, car sick.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's coming out of your pocket.
Totally. That's like a $90, that's like a $60 trip. You know what I mean? On a bad day. On a good day.
The gas prices are insane right now.
They are insane. But here we are. You know what I mean?
We're in LA. And then we were talking about our love lives.
Oh, yeah.
And I find that, like, being a trans woman in LA is really hard to date.
Yeah.
Because I just think that, you know, people really care about their image here. And, like, what does it mean to, like, date a trans woman? You know what I mean? Do you find it easier in New York?
Okay, honestly, I will say, even though New York is New York, I will say that it is probably much easier to date in New York as a trans woman than it is in LA, just because I feel like in LA there's a lot more people who are very focused on surface level, superficial things and appearances and perceptions. Whereas in New York, like, people are a lot more open-minded and a lot more free in their mind.
Yeah, they like what they like and they don't feel bad about it.
Totally. Yeah. And I feel like even though dating in New York, one of my friends told me this, dating in New York is like digging through the trash. You know what I mean? It's like digging through the trash.
Expand on that.
You know, like, for instance, if you move to New York or you live in New York, you will have your first New York relationship. And that relationship might seem like everything because you're in New York. But anywhere else in the world, it looks like I just picked up a can of Coca-Cola from the trash. And it's been It's a half empty can of Coca-Cola from the trash can.
Oh, no.
And I'm drinking it. That's what dating in New York is like.
So that was clearly about someone specific.
Totally. Yes.
Well, I still haven't even been kissed as a girl yet.
Mm.
And so I'm trying to find, like, it's so weird because it feels like I'm a virgin again. And I want to make it really special, obviously. But it's also like, should I just rip the Band-Aid off? You know what I mean? What would your 2 cents be on that?
It just depends on, what kind of person you are. Because for me, I don't do anything that I'm not emotionally connected to.
I think I'm on the same page.
I'm
as
like
you.
so into intimacy and so into
I want to like
connection.
hold someone's hand.
Totally.
But get this, now because the estrogen I'm on, sex drive gone.
Yeah.
But still like would like love to hold someone's hand.
Totally. I mean, like, I feel that. And I also like low key feel like that whole, this is like a personal thing, but I feel like having like lessened sex drive is kind of like a lot of people aren't really on those vibes these days.
I get so much more done.
Yeah.
Because I'm not horny.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, I actually think I'm tapping into my Capricorn even more.
Yeah.
Because I don't like need to be horny all the day.
Right.
Now, is there like, this was interesting when I was Googling 2 minutes before I was in the car coming here.
Love that.
They said like rising Pisces for men versus for women. Do you see any gender in astrology as like a thing because like what does that mean for trans people? Like, should I be going off my birth gender or like my real now chosen gender?
I feel like I don't think that with astrology I see like an energy.
Yeah,
but not really
it's less about gender, right?
It's less about gender and less about genitalia. I mean, I feel like, I meet women all the time, whether they're cis or they're trans or whether they're queer women. I meet women all the time that have an excessive, like, overwhelming masculine energy.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
I love those women.
Like my very good friend Victoria, when I met her, she's an Aries.
Yeah.
And like Aries is ruled by Mars. When I met her, I thought she was hitting on me. And I was like, whoa.
Right. It's like top energy.
Yeah, it's top energy. And she was like, no, everyone thinks that about me. It's fine. Like, that's just how I am. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I also think sometimes that's women like having to take that energy on to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Because I now find myself in like these like, positions where I'm in a meeting or like, with like the leader of a team or whatever. And I'm like, hi, everyone. Like, I sound like Mickey Mouse. And then I realize I'm like, oh, do I need to sound harsh and do I need to put on a hard exterior? And then I'm like, no, like I want to see if we can maintain our femininity, but still be taken seriously, like in these power positions.
Yeah. It's so interesting because with you, and this is like my experience of you, it's like, I think the world is so used. There's like thousands and thousands of stories of there being the strong one and that strong one displaying some sort of intense masculine energy. But I feel like for you sort of represent this light that we're stepping in finally in our world, where we're letting women be feminine and let femininity be powerful as it is.
And that was my growing up. I was told that my femininity was like my weakest link, like that I should be ashamed of it, circling back to like religion and all that. Like it was so embarrassing. And to now know that all those parts of myself that I shed like years ago, now refinding them these past few months is like, oh my God, this is what makes me special. Like this is actually why I'm here.
Yeah.
And doesn't that feel good to like tap into?
I think it feels good when you can realize it.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes the world that we live in sometimes doesn't do a good job of reminding us. And I think in those moments, it's hard for us to, I try to be really like, adamant about it is okay for people to feel like shit. It is okay to feel lonely and feel like a victim and feel confused and feel like you don't know what the is going on. But I feel like, I say that because I feel like sometimes, especially for women, we're taught to turn the other cheek and keep smiling and keep being strong. And sometimes that's not like always that's not the thing that we need. You know what I mean? Like in the moment when I'm in a meeting, I can keep a strong face. I will. But,
well, I then think about all the men that like would love to tap into their femininity, but they feel terrified to either be like these straight men are afraid to be seen as gay, or these gay men that want to be feminine are afraid that they'll then be like, oh, that gay man actually just wants to be trans. Like there's so many like stereotypes of like femininity on men. And I know that like I also, this really irks me. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I get women in my comments being like, why can't you just be a feminine man? Like why can't you just be a feminine gay man? Because I'm not. That's not what I am. But I want to celebrate all the gay men that are feminine, because I remember being a gay man and like literally seeing all these like Barry's boot camp bros and being like, that's what I need to be. I was taking mass weight gainer in college, like pump and iron, baby. And now knowing that like, oh, we were taught like that was what was attractive, like in the scene. Yeah. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, there are these like gay feminine men to celebrate, but that's not what I am. Exactly. And it really bothers me that like, especially these TERFs online can like group us all together, because it's just people trying to put us in boxes. Oh my gosh. But I cannot wait to just start, like, I mean, Harry Styles wearing a dress, like that was legend. Like all of these, I can't wait to see more and more of that, because that's where we're headed. Right. Sorry about it. Yeah, I mean, like I'm excited to see like people just get on the femme train. Toot, toot. Yeah, I mean, like I and that's my thing about it is when it comes to dresses, when it comes to skirts, when it comes to heels, that's when I guess maybe people have a problem. But why is it not when it comes to overalls or Doc Martens or bandanas? Because I feel like the real issue is misogyny. And that's what I have an issue with. I don't give a if I'm a trans person. I don't give a if like I don't care like how if people respect my identity or not, because I don't live my life for them. My huge issue truly is with the fact that this is an issue that you all have with women and femininity, which is much larger than gender. And they literally cannot conceptualize how a man would want to walk away from that privilege to become a woman. And because they're like, why would you give that up? Because that's who I'm supposed to be. Yeah. And why is that giving anything? I'm actually giving something up that will make me better. Yeah. Like, and make me feel better. Yeah. So I'm just like, look at us. We look great. Yeah. And we're doing what we want to do. We're living our best lives. Totally. I mean, I think that, I feel like, I remember when I was getting ready, and I think earlier we were talking about, like growing up Catholic, and then my mother. I still have memories from when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I was sitting on her yellow and blue plaid comforter watching her get ready for work, and I thought she was the coolest woman in the world. My mom was tough, she was resilient, she was smart, she was gorgeous, she was feminine, she also knew how to run a room, she could get along with anybody, and you know what I mean? Strength. It was I saw her, and without even realizing it, it's an image that I hold on to so much, right? Because I saw myself in that. You wanted to emulate that. Exactly. In some ways. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that it's similar. Like my mom, she's my biggest critic, and yet like that's who I want my criticism from. Yeah. But we see so different on things, especially like on gender and sexuality and all of these. She's getting so much better. Yay, hi. But you then have to like remember that we aren't our parents, we aren't our mothers, and we get to figure, like, I want to have kids one day, I want to be a mom. Totally. And I'm like, oh, how am I going to take these things that I learned from my mom, but also like things that I would have wanted being like this trans kid growing up that didn't know how to tap into that. Yeah, and I think that's like where having the visual of women that I did really helped me understand who I wanted to be in the world. And then it progressed into so much more. And it just, I think my gender identity became a part of that. And I think that is why I think the whole concept of gender identity, whether it has to do with, someone being like, oh yeah, I was born cis and I am sticking to whatever this is or whatever this means. Or like I'm queer, or I'm non-binary, or I am transitioning into a woman, or transitioning into a man, or I'm just dropping all things and I am out this world. You know what I mean? It's a spiritual experience that I feel like everybody like should allow themselves to experience, Right. And like, I want to know for you, like, what was your
you're like locked and loaded, this is who I am. Or, as I like to call it, your superhero origin story.
Okay, well, you said superhero, and I've never seen a Marvel movie before, so this
Okay.
also I'm nervous. What is a superhero? Like, just give me like a little explanation on this.
Yeah.
Superhero origin story.
So you know how you have like a villain origin story?
Not really.
Okay. So, so like it's the moment in your life that was the pivotal moment that had you step into your power of who you are today. Like, was it a person? Was there like a time
There
where
were
it clicked?
two different. I think I have like two. I think I have two superhero origin stories.
Come on.
The first was with my parents' divorce.
Okay.
And I was like 7 years old. And I basically, as a 7-year-old, was like, oh, great, I'm going to do everything on my own now. And I truly was that 7-year-old that like booked flights and, you know, got my, like, would have gotten an Ubers by myself. Like, I just was
Well,
that
every
kid.
Capricorn in the audience, please stand up.
And I guess
Thank
I
you.
was, damn it, I guess I am a Capricorn.
Yeah.
But I really had this moment of like, that was my superhero independence story,
Yeah.
I would say. And then my superhero gender story, it happened during the pandemic because I was doing a Broadway musical playing a little Mormon boy, literally 8 shows a week, like singing and dancing as this like perfect little, you know, combed over hair. I thought that's all I could amount to in life.
Yeah.
And then once the pandemic hit, I found out that my career was not something that would continue because of this giant, you know, world insanity. I then was forced to be like, oh, who is Dylan actually without, you know, this Broadway musical that you're in? And I realized I was like, oh, babe, she's a girl. Like, well, first it was non-binary because I was so scared of going from man to woman. So it was
For some
really
of us,
nice.
that's like the segue.
Yes, it's the
Yeah.
new segue, babe. It's 2022. But for the first time in my life, I was asking those really scary gender questions. And now I have people in my DMs being like, oh my gosh, because of you, I'm asking those same questions in
Yeah.
your videos. And I think that had the pandemic not happened, I might still be in this little Mormon boy uniform, and I don't know if I'd be sitting with you talking about transness. I think it would have taken me longer to get there.
Yeah.
Because I was so scared of finding success in the industry as a trans woman. I was scared of finding love. I was scared of what my parents, you know, coming from our Catholic upbringings, I was scared what that would mean. So I think my superhero story is really just whether it's about my independence, whether it's about my gender, it's just about confidence. It's about finally loving who I am.
Yeah.
It's about where every single day now, I used to wear something for other people. Like, I remember going to parties in college and I'd wear an outfit because I thought a boy was going to think it was cute.
Oh.
Now, when I walk out the door, I know I'm wearing that exactly for me.
Yeah.
And that's part of that's like my superhero uniform, you know, without a cape.
Yeah, like I understand that. And I feel like, you know, it was a secret to me when I was in high school, when I was growing up. And I remember I just asked myself, and I just realized, you know, all of the people that I looked up to for a while, they were all women.
Mm-hmm.
They were all women. I think I also look up to, they were all women. They were all women. Yeah, they were all women.
You're like, wait. No.
And like when I was picking out an outfit, even for like school, I'm like, okay, what would I wear to school on a Wednesday if I were in a Rihanna music video?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so like it's like this, it's like, they might not always be like the one moment,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be like a plethora of moments coming together as one.
And I think now with what I'm doing online, like, I guess, you know, my days of girlhood could technically be like my superhero story.
Yeah.
But really, when I started that series, it was for me. Like, it was just silly. It was for my friends and family. I didn't have a big following. And so now to see all of these people, like, having these emotional reactions coming out because of it, DMing me that, you know, their kids came out to them and showed them my video, that is where I'm like, oh, I guess this story is worth telling. And like,
Yeah.
that's why I'm going to keep making content. And even though, you know, sometimes it's uncomfy and sometimes we don't want to do it, but even when our content doesn't have anything to do with our gender
Yeah.
or our sexuality or anything, like, that is still examples of us like living happy lives in
Yeah.
society. So it's still a great, still great to be on a screen.
Being on a screen can impact so many people because now like people are asking themselves the questions that you were asking yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually have some of those people who ask questions like and follow you.
Yeah?
Ask you like real deal questions.
No way.
This is my favorite segment of the show. It's where y'all submit fan submissions to the phone number as a voicemail that I put on my story literally every week. But here we are answering the first one. Let's get into it.
Hey, my name is Alex. My pronouns are he, they.
Hi, Alex.
This is a message for Dylan for today. I really just wanted to say, as a female to male trans person, it is such a joy and honor to watch someone experience girlhood in a way that I never was able to. You're doing all the things that I didn't really want to do growing up. And in a way, it's so beautiful to me to see you get the opportunity to do this at an older age than like as a kid. Yeah, growing up, it was really tough being a girl. And now that I have the chance to be myself, as you know, your own steps of the way, it's a huge change.
Yeah. Hi, Alex. You just made my entire day. And I think that actually trans men have been the most surprising part of my fan base, because I would have assumed that, what I was doing kind of would make you uncomfortable because you're like, oh, that's not my scene anymore. That's not my vibe. But the fact that y'all can enjoy me doing these things that you didn't enjoy brings me so much comfort. And I think that even though we are no longer the same gender, we know how it feels on either side. And it's not about, it's so little about male and female, and it's just feeling different or feeling like something's off. We've both had that feeling, and you have as well. And so I think it's so cool that you still can enjoy what I'm doing. And I hope that, boyhood and manhood are treating you well. And I think that it's also really cool that we can still pull from other sides of masculine and feminine. We were just talking about, like, I'm starting to get more comfortable with, like, if I see something cute in the guys section that I want to wear, that doesn't make me any less of a woman. Yeah. And like one day I hope that I can get to a place like on a red carpet where I wear a tuxedo and I'm still a gal.
And it's con.
Babe, it's fire. Yeah. And I think,
say it though, con.
I'm too nervous. I'm trying to be on Disney. I'm trying to be a Disney princess.
I'll say it for you, con.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that just the fact that we can see each other this way is really beautiful. So thank you.
I will quickly say before we get into our second submission that something about you, which you have no idea about because it's something that I keep to myself. When I first started following you, you really intimidated me.
Serious?
Yeah, you did. And it's because of something super specific. Your heart is so open, and you know how to open it. You know how to open the door. You know how to keep it open. And you do know how to access it. And I watch how you respond to the people that follow you and the people that you care about, and the way that you do it with, like, there's not a veil between the two of you. It's like this real.
Thank you for saying that, because I had never known that I could be taken, as intimidating. It kind of makes me feel special. I'm like, ooh, cool. Yeah. Because then I look at someone like you who's so fierce, so what I see is sure of yourself. Mm-hmm. And especially in a city like New York, where like it takes grit to like really succeed there, even just exist there, let alone succeed, which you are doing. And I think watching you has been so much of like, oh, like even today coming here, because we hadn't met in person yet, even though we're mutuals, I was like, oh my gosh, like, is she gonna like me? Like, is the vibe gonna be good? And it's amazing. And I think that's been the coolest part. Do you agree that there is like nothing more special than when other trans people accept and love what you're doing, like, or like they're really proud of the content you're making or the stories you're telling?
It's like reassurance that you don't know that you want.
Right?
It's like, oh.
Well, because I even thought that my Days of Girlhood series early on could be like taken in the wrong way, like especially from trans people being like, "What do you think? Is this some gimmick?" and then to now see all of these trans women specifically being like, oh yeah, babe, like, oh, I went through this, or now trans women will like send me links to like products that they use, or like tucking things that, you know, they work with, and that has been the best part.
And that's like the thing about like girlhood / womanhood that I think is so beautiful that you represent, is you represent a journey over time. It's not always polished, it's not always pretty, it's not always edited, it's not always, you know, perfect.
Right.
And
thank you.
You know, for you to be able to have the kind of connection, that's why you move so big and you're so powerful, is because you have this sort of connection with your followers and with the world,
right,
where you are so open, where you're willing to share your 100% self with them, if it's perfect or not, and then accept when they're like, okay, yes, but maybe a different shade of foundation.
Yeah.
Yes, but babe, you're actually a size 4, not a size 6. The dress should have been tailored. Like, you take it and you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and I hope that for both of us that because we've been so kind of like raw online, and like I'll, you know, show my facial hair sometimes, and I won't put makeup on, and I never want to get so far along into whatever we're doing that I don't feel comfortable like showing my raw self anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, oh babe, I want to show the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
I like with your facial hair too. Do you feel that too sometimes? That it's powerful?
She's done. I was like wondering, I was thinking about lasering it off.
Right. I'm doing that process right now. It's intense.
Like for me, I think it's like, I was like, okay, this is how I look. And I was like,
you're beautiful.
Thank you. And I think the thing about it is it's my look, and I look like the perfect combination of my mom and my dad. And I wanted to keep that. Right.
And I am also really excited to show the world that we can be accepted as feminine, as females, with these parts, with this anatomy, because I've shown within 100 days that like I haven't had any of my FFS, I haven't had any of my surgeries yet, and I still have been accepted by this many people as a woman. And so I hope it shows other trans people that they don't have to necessarily do all those things to be seen as trans.
Totally.
Yeah, love it.
Let's get into the second fan submission.
Hey girls, it's Mark Sebastian.
Oh my
first question is, Antoni,
Sorry.
why don't you follow me back on Instagram? Why won't you follow me back? No, I'm kidding. My second question is, who would play you in a movie? Both of you, Dylan as well, and who would play the person you're currently crushing on in a movie? Okay, that's it. Love you both. Bye.
Okay, hi Mark Sebastian. I follow you back on Instagram. That's
Hey,
all I'll
Mark.
say. Everyone, Mark Sebastian, classic fashion icon of New York City. Also, Mark Sebastian is like the trans whisperer. All of his friends are trans. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
It's
truly.
hilarious.
I'm sorry, I do not follow you back on Instagram. I should do that. I don't know why I don't. Okay.
It's a good Insta. It's
Yeah.
very aesthetic.
Is it?
Yeah. Who would play you in a movie?
Okay, let me think. This is gonna sound so annoying, but for me, I would either have to play myself, or Rihanna would play me, because we have the same body, the same toes, the same like features. We like have so many similarities.
That was so good.
It's true. We have a lot of similarities. Like if I could swap closets with someone with no problem, same aesthetic, same sizing, same vibe, like same like sort of like, you know, beauty, it's Rihanna.
She would do you good in the movie.
Yeah,
to be honest.
she would. Yeah.
Yeah,
She just adds a little accent to me.
Who would play me in a movie? Okay, maybe Lily Collins from Emily in Paris. Could see that, but
Abby.
also like Sandra Bullock. Like if it's an older version of me.
Totally see that. You give Sandra.
Yes, or if we're going off personality, I could see like a Drew Barrymore, Reese Witherspoon hybrid.
Yes, but like I feel like, you know, like the quirky like 90s Reese Witherspoon.
Very much like right before Legally Blonde era.
Yes.
She's getting very serious now, which we love for her. We love you, Reese.
give like Reese Witherspoon in Cruel Intentions vibes. Oh. You do give that.
Let's do a reboot.
Let's do a reboot.
Okay, and then who would play your crush in a movie?
I hate that I'm this person, but I literally like, I don't have crushes. Like I have crushes on people.
Okay, well like who's a hot actor that you would want to kiss on set, even though like it's professional?
So I'd probably say my crush would definitely probably be one of three. Either 90s Antonio Sabato Jr., 90s Keanu Reeves, or Idris Elba. Sorry, Isan.
Okay,
I love your dad.
my love interest in the movie would be Robert Pattinson circa Twilight.
Yeah.
I saw him in a restaurant a few months ago. It took me everything.
You know he doesn't wash his hair?
I'll wash it for him.
Okay.
Or who else do I love? Oh, I think this is like kind of a problematic one, but John Mayer, like he's really done a lot of women dirty, and I want to be one of those women.
I understand that
Do
so
you get
much.
that?
Yeah, that's how I feel about. I'm not gonna say his name because I've met him in person.
I'm like, just make me sob, and then write a song about me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also very progressive. Like I feel like he's been through every cis woman, John Mayer. So now it's your time for you to try on a trans woman for size.
Let me
be your star. I had the best day with you.
I did have the best day with you.
I want to do more of this. Hopefully
You're
soon.
my LA girl now.
You got to move here. Well, I'm going to come to New York. You're going to come to LA.
I'm gonna be bi-coastal in Malibu.
We'll figure it out.
I'll have my little like.
Maybe I'll have a house when you come visit.
Yeah, it'll
you
be
can
cute.
Stay with me.
No, it'll be cute.
Okay.
Like it'll be. I saw you were house hunting.
Babe, we're manifesting. If there's any brands out there that are looking to sponsor me buying a house, this would be the time.
Or sponsor.
It has farm animals in the backyard, so when you come visit,
cute.
we would like play with the animals.
I know. I really, honestly, would love to get like residence in Malibu.
Oh yeah, you
I mean,
will.
Yeah,
that's
I will.
That's like an October move.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally October move. Regina, write that down. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Reading the Stars. I'm so happy that I got to have my sister Dylan on the show.
Adore you.
I adore you. I'm so.
This was a good time, y'all.
Yeah, this is like the cuntiest way for us to meet, and the fact that like this is just the beginning for
You're
both
in
of
a
us.
Renaissance dress.
Yeah. It's Rococo.
It's Rococo.
Rococo, Renaissance Rococo. It's like Rococo's right after Renaissance. But, you know, Dylan, where can the girls find you?
The girls, if you haven't found me yet, it is on TikTok at Dylan Mulvaney and Instagram at Dylan Mulvaney. And I don't have Twitter because that scares me.
And somewhere on Raya. Well, you
I
guys,
can't get on Raya. They won't let me on. Been on the waiting list for
I
years.
have like, wait, no. Do you have someone that sent you like an invite?
Oh, babe, I got many an invite. Never let me on.
It's giving transphobia, honestly.
Your move, Raya.
Your move, Raya. Anyways, that's another episode of
Reading the Stars.
Okay, Ravada. After having my episode with Dylan on tonight, I realized something very beautiful. It is okay to open up your heart and share who you really are inside with those who are willing to love you. You do not have to be anything more than who you already are deep inside of you. And also, if you are a young person or an old person or any person, hey, I'm not ageist, and you're struggling with your gender identity, understand something. Take your time and remember to be true to yourself. By the way, a reminder, I cannot breathe in this corset.
Reading the Stars is produced by Brat TV and Picture Start. It's hosted and executive produced by Antoni Bumba. Our lead producer is Katie Felber, with help from Emmanuel Stoller and Neha Gandhi. Our editor is Brian Felber. Our talent coordinator is Carrie Brooks, with help from Amanda Maddox. Our head of production is Chase Logan. Our sound was provided by Extreme Music. Executive producers are Rob Fishman from Brat TV and Eric Faig of Picture Start. Special thanks to Darlene Kenny and everyone else who made this show possible.